Hi everyone. So this is another episode of Get Set Throttles podcast. Today we're going to talk about bike maintenance. So we have Anshul here today. He has a couple of very nice bikes. One of them is here. Is an R1200 RS. So we'll be talking about how to maintain a bike like this. So I think the first thing is how do we clean a bike?
First of all, you have to be, you want your bikes to look gorgeous, so that's the main aim. That's how you start cleaning or start planning to clean them. So, what we generally do is use minimal water. That's the first thing to have a long life on a bike. As minimum as you can, considering, our water quality, salt deposits.
Hard water.
That's one of the, the culprit of the rusting, of the beginning of rusting on the bike. So what I generally do is I try to keep usage of water to minimum. So for that, generally what I do is I use these waterless washes if the bike is suitably dirty but can be managed with that. Unless until the bike is totally muddy where you actually need some water. But the idea to use with the water is use a good soap.
Yeah.
Which is, it doesn't damage your paint quality.
What kind of soaps? What brand would you recommend?
So I use Makoff.
Yeah, Makoff.
Makoff is one of the good. Then Putoline. I have a very. I just use one particular Putoline soap, which is like dirt bike cleaner. So that actually dissipates the dirt pretty quickly and restores the bike. That I'm using for almost now 5 years.
Right.
And I started using on this bike itself.
And Makoff has a big.
So all the reputed companies, Makoff and Putoline. I would suggest, instead of like saving a few bucks and going to the roadside
Amazon
cleaners, and some of spurious aftermarket products which you don't know how harsh the chemicals are. They actually deteriorate your paint life.
Yeah.
So use a good product. That's one of the key things. Use minimal water. Whenever you have to use it with a good soap. And post that, actually you should put some good coatings on the bike. So what I've done here on this bike, I have done a mix of PPF and some ceramic coating.
Right.
And for the plastics, I am using these matte detailers. And some of the parts I have coated which are like glossy
they look almost
plastic.
brand new.
Yeah, so this is all like, I use these matte detailers.
Right.
And obviously, a good clean wash is the most important thing. Post that, so what I've done is generally, that part we use the luggage. So you have luggage straps going from here to there. So I've put a PPF film on these small parts.
Small parts here.
Yeah, so this is like, you can just remove it easily, get it PPF, change it every 1-2 years. And you won't believe, can you assume the cost of PPF on these two small parts?
I won't even. How much is it?
$700. And that's the best PPF I have put.
And I think that really protects the paint.
You see the difference it makes. It's protecting the paint. It's not very expensive.
Looks almost brand new.
Yeah. So even if I change it after every 2 years, before it becomes yellow or something, And the first thing, the other thing which I forgot to tell is avoid sun.
Yeah.
As much as possible, especially when you're storing the bike. So before I had this garage, I used to keep them like nicely covered, tightly wrapped up. Even though if I'm not using for a week, I used to put the cover with the clips so that it doesn't flew off, and so that's how I used to store them. And as much as possible, I keep them away from the sun when I'm storing. So it protects the tire, it protects the paint, it protects the electronics, all these plastics. So that's how I maintain this, and I clean them after every ride, because as a rider even you have the OCD.
I think all riders have.
All
OCD.
riders, all passionate riders.
We all love our bikes and want to keep it spick
and those,
and span.
especially those who have spent their own money, hard-earned money in buying a bike,
It's our babies. Yeah.
So right now what we use, and it's an amazing thing, it just makes your bike like a showroom new. The engine detailer and even the shaft. So like just spray, wipe it off.
Especially for your bike, because the BMWs have the boxer
engines and
the fins are exposed. So I think these sort of need that cleaning. Some of the other triples
they don't need that much cleaning because of this the vertical nature. Now you can see the
Some of the classic bikes also, like Bonneville's, they have the fins, you have
so
to use
especially with the engines where you have the matte finish, like the powder coated ones, they attract dirt very fast. So use these engine brighteners. They are pretty decent ones, and they will keep your bike looking like showroom new.
I think also I do, when I've got these small different shaped brushes. I think I got them from Muck Off.
Yeah.
So when I clean the bike, when I put soap, I just sort of gently brush all
them.
these sort of detail, these
crevices,
all these areas, and it gets all that muck from
muck
away
and
from
dust
all
off,
that stuff.
and that enhances the life of your gear.
Yeah.
Even your windscreens. So like when we ride, any bike, you have, even if you have a small screen or a fairing, you have bugs hitting, you have dirt
all
hitting,
kinds of stuff,
and then you have those scratch and swirl marks.
I've got that, and unfortunately my screen is all gone now.
So for that, I have generally used, like once in 2-3 months, I use something known as a headlight restorer. So it has a very, it has a few polishing pads and compounds, 2-3 types. So you can just spray, wipe it off, your scratch, swirl, that yellowing of of your screen, that will go away. And even your headlights, which is full of bugs,
So this is a great product, I think, for all transparent plastic
so even
parts.
you can use auto sole, metal polish, or this scratch repair kit, you can use anything just to have those. And you can see the finish is like, pretty smooth. And post that, you can put your ceramic coating spray. So the other problem with the dust is it accumulates around brake pads.
Yeah.
So a lot of time you will experience that your brake is not up to the mark. So that can be, there can be various reasons of it, but dust is one of the reasons.
Yeah.
So what happens is, what you can use is, there are brake cleaners available off the shelf. So I use one from STR, it's right there. So you can just, once you come back from a tour or a ride, which is like the dusty ride, just use this product.
Yeah.
It can be from any company. It's like a acetone product. Yeah. So you can just spray it onto your pads.
And also there's a lot of brake dust that comes out of some of the pads.
And if you want to do a really good maintenance, just take off remove your brake pads, which is generally a very easy job to do.
But you can also do a lot of the small maintenance at home.
I mean, a lot of people, they ask us like how you maintain these big bikes.
Simple
lot
things.
Of expenditure in maintaining. You can save a lot of cost by doing very basic things.
Basic maintenance.
Like installing something, removing something, basic maintenance, changing brake pads. So this all can be done at home.
Especially consumable parts. You can even do oil changes at home.
Yeah.
They're not
oil changes are up to, if you have space, you have time, and the problem is disposing that oil.
Yeah,
so some dirty job, let's leave it to the workshops. Yeah. Unless until you are really passionate, you want to do it at home. If you have time to spare, you have space to dispose of that garbage and oil, you can definitely do it.
Right.
But my recommendation is leave the dirty jobs. Let workshop guys also do something. We don't want to take away their credit and their hard work.
So what are the few things that before you go for a ride, before, whether it's a short ride or especially a longer ride, what are the few things that you should check on your bike before you head out on that ride?
So if you remember from our Bullet days, those bikes used to vibrate a lot.
Yeah.
And forget about the Sunday rides, when you go on the tour, something or the other used to fall.
Yeah.
Sometimes the stand spring is gone. Sometimes you have luggage rack coming off, bolts falling down. Yeah. So one thing I learned from those days is, when you are going on a tour, check the tightness of all your components. Like let's say starting from the wheel bearings, just check they are free, or if you are using them on rough roads a lot, change them before a big tour so that you don't want your tour to get spoiled. Yeah. Then things like the guards, the luggage racks, when you're tightening them, put a Loctite.
Yeah.
Tighten them.
That's another top tip. So whenever you attach something to the bike, you put any kind of bolt, definitely use some sort of Loctite, otherwise, because otherwise it'll work itself loose, and then you can have some sort of a disaster. On the road.
What happens is, especially when you get these big bikes, they come like partly disassembled, like handles will be off, and they'll remove these bar end weights.
Yeah.
So when they put back, most of them they don't put, they just assemble and deliver the bike to you.
Yes.
Some may be doing it, some may not.
Yeah.
I had the experience where on a brand new bike, my bar end weight just came off in first 1,000 kilometers when I was I think first 2,000 I would say, when I was doing a long ride, and it was a normal highway ride, not even like okay, I did some trail in between, but yeah, these things came off. There was a splash guard, that thing came off. So that's how we learned. So after that I decided, before any tour, like I did a big tour, solo tour, I just checked the tightness of everything, like right from the battery compartment to this clutch to the foot pegs. Once I found this, you can see this foot peg, this clips, E-clips, that was missing.
Oh my God.
And this is some sizes are not available off the shelf.
And if a foot peg falls off, then it's going to be unrideable.
So then what you can do? You can't do anything.
So this is one of the things I did. When I on my bike, when I got my hand guards, I put my Barkbuster hand guards, and I put my luggage rack. I put Loctite. And say I've never had an issue.
And then just recheck it before, because once you do ride and all, just check the tightness of all, because these small things, they really make difference in your.
And the bikes vibrate.
Tour.
That's the
any
killer.
bike, even in this bike, I get a buzz. I've seen best of the bikes, you have the buzz. After, like, let's say you ride for 600 kilometers, end of the day you can still feel the buzz in the hands.
What about tires? That's another thing. One of the sort of the most common breakdown that people get is either a puncture or a tire that has failed on us. So what would you suggest on checking as far as tires go?
See, the first basic thing is, as we all know, check the pressures. Keep them optimum pressures.
Definitely, top tip. Check your pressures before
check
each
your
ride.
pressures before, I would say, even Sunday ride. Sunday ride, you are still within the city.
Every ride, check
because what will happen is, even if you are running with less than optimum pressures, your tire wear will increase multifold.
Plus, your bike doesn't handle right. It is designed to sort of handle in very small window of tire pressure. So
you may be able to feel it. You may not. Some the people who are connected to their bike, they can feel it much better compared to the people who are newbies, or who are not that much connected to the bike. So, and there are a lot of videos on tire and tire pressures and which tire, what tire. But in a layman's term, the main thing is, check the pressures, check the tire TDI, tire depth indicator. What happens is, generally, people, they see, like on this bike also, you can see the sides, the corners, they are very good. They're as good as new.
Chicken strips.
But you can see in the middle, I'm already like, halfway or little more than halfway down. So that is where the problem starts. So
the tread is sort of worn away here.
Worn
and
away,
not so much here.
Because generally these touring bikes, we are mostly on the flat roads. Let's say 50% highway, 40% hills, or 30% hills.
Even that depends. Not sometimes. So.
So most of the wear happens in the middle. So that's when you have to check. Let's say you are going for a 3,000 kilometer ride, and your tire is already 50 or 60% down, which is, let's say you have a life of, as per your you don't know how many kilometers, because it all depends how you ride. You are very aggressive on throttle, it may last for 2,000. You are less aggressive, it may last for 3,000. So if you are going for a long ride, check your depth. If it is within 50% range, I'm talking about these tires, the softer compound tires, I'll suggest get it changed. You can keep this tire. Once you come back, put this back again, and use it for your city rides. Because here you are in a controlled environment. You can come back home anytime. You are within 50,
can call
60.
RSA, or
you can call RSA.
But on a long ride, if you're stuck in a desolate,
then there are things like your ride will get spoiled. You will not feel that I planned so and so, because all of us, we take out time from our work and all. We plan. We have so much of hopes from those rides.
and a small puncture can completely destroy your ride. And if you don't get service, if you can't, especially on some of the bikes, that don't have tubeless tires, so try and get a bike with tubeless tires,
Tubeless
tires. Save a lot of hassle.
So what I do is, for the tube tires, like we go through the trails where there's no assistance. So generally, first of all, that's the whole idea of do-it-yourself thing. You should be able to take out your tire
and change it.
Two things. One is to save your ride. One is to save your life.
Yes.
So if you are stuck in the middle of nowhere with no one to assist you, you have to have some tools. So I generally keep this small tire levers. I keep emergency patches, for the tube patches, just to get me out of that particular situation. And the best thing is the small, nowadays you get these handy tire inflators.
Yeah.
You know, earlier you remember in the Bullet days we used to carry the whole foot pump, and
nowadays they're this small, you just
not this
put it
small,
in a
and
backpack and you're done.
these things are amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
amazing.
you just keep them in your pocket or your thigh bag or wherever you want. Generally, before departing again, check your battery life. Use a multimeter.
And most bikes nowadays have a gauge which
shows the battery.
Shows you the battery voltage.
But
so check it.
Let's talk about the middleweight segment. They may not have all those fancy features. So it's just multimeter cost. Even if you can get it checked from your local, auto guy or a battery shop, any battery shop can check it. And if you feel like the bike is sluggish in starting, get it changed.
Yeah.
If not, then keep this.
I'm having the same issue on one of my bikes.
Yeah.
I need to get a new battery. So yeah, absolutely.
So
definitely.
this is another lifesaver nowadays. You get in. Okay, this is a little bigger one, but you can get in all sizes. This is a emergency jump starter with a portable power bank. So you can use it as your power bank. You can use it as for the emergency. And this actually saved me a lot, both on the car and the bike.
Yeah.
I had an issue with my new car, and the battery got dead in the middle of nowhere with my family with me. Luckily, I always keep these in my cars and bikes. And just connect the battery, connect to terminal, jump start, you're good to go.
Do you use any kind of service manual or any kind of do you use any kind of documentation when you're doing a bike maintenance? Or
so generally,
what do you recommend on that?
Some things, because of the nature of my job, some things I can comprehend. I can understand, okay, this is the problem, this is how I can open. But yes, if you can get a hand on the service manual, trust me, 50% of the jobs, the clean jobs,
you can do at home.
They are very simple jobs. It's just you need to open. Like few days back, if you remember, we were talking, like I opened the air filter.
Yeah.
Now the air filter on this bike is below this.
Right.
And so I had some issue with the fuel gauge here, and I decided let's find out what the issue is. I started opening. It was night time, 10 o'clock, and it took me just an hour to find out what was the issue with the gauge, to rectify it. And in the meantime, I thought, okay, I'll check the air filter as well. So, and that was the first time I actually opened air filter on this particular bike, because I was scared, the air filter is under the tank, and well, it's nothing. It was very simple, as easy. Like,
usually bikes will have a very sort of a simple way to get to the air filter.
Some bikes are complicated, like even your bike Tiger, and even mine one, that 1200. They have the filter under the fuel tank, so you may not want to do it at home, because the whole bulk thing you have to take out. But trust me, it's a very easy job.
Yeah.
And the guys who are doing it in the workshop,
they are used to this. Yeah.
They are used to it, and some must be their first time, when they started doing it.
Yeah.
So that's why it is like easy for them. So once you do it, you may make some mistakes, you will lose one nut bolt here and there, but eventually, you will get it.
And these are some of the very basic maintenance that you might have to do while you're on a ride.
Yes.
Like change a tire or change fix a flat. Change your air filter. We had this issue with one of our colleagues.
Recently on a solo tour.
On a solo tour. Speaking of solo tour, and
that's another thing we have to keep in mind. When you're going on a solo tour,
take some spares with you.
Get a new air filter.
Yeah, exactly.
Because as I said, our conditions are such anywhere you go, they are dusty.
Yeah, especially going in the desert,
Desert, and that fine dust, you won't even realize it's already damaging half of your components. Exactly. The other worst thing is, if you are on a tour, your fork seal leaks.
Yes.
Then what are you going to do? That is not a DIY thing. You need a workshop. You need a stand for it. To enhance that life, put these
fork seal covers.
So they really help. They really help in enhancing the life of your fork seals. So I had put these really nice Krega covers on both of my bikes.
That's very important. I think all bikes which we take up, especially upside down forks.
Yes.
We take for long rides. Definitely get fork seal covers. It'll enhance the life of your fork seals.
If you might agree with me, these all machines are like they are really amazing machines. They can do everything, whatever you want them to do.
They're also very sensitive machines.
Yeah, they're also very sensitive, and considering they are not made for, or they were not for our conditions. When they were designing these bikes, they were not keeping in mind that that you will be riding in these hostile conditions. Not smoother road, like a better. Nobody used to talk about environment when they were designing or making these bikes. Even now, the bikes which are imported to India, nobody talks about And even the bikes which are made here, they never said that this is dusty environment compatible.
we have some of the most harshest environments, and not just about not the heat. It is about dust. It is
Dust,
and we
everything,
ride in so many different
Our
types of
terrain
environments.
changes every few hundred kilometers. It's suddenly you will have hilly, and from the hills only you are in a hill desert, and then again you are in. So dust to moist, moist to dust,
Exactly. There hasn't been a ride where I have not gone, or even on a simple, highway ride, that I have not gone off road on my bike. In India, you can anything.
You
can
can
happen.
expect anything, anytime,
happen.
anywhere.
And what about fluids? That's the other thing. These bikes are all water cooled bikes with brakes. We have hydraulic brakes and hydraulic clutch. Some of them are hydraulic clutches. You have so many fluids that are sort of required. So how do you sort of maintain
it all
those?
again it all depends like what you. So let's say if I take this bike on a tour on a track. So what I do is generally till the time I'm touring, I just rotate it every year. Just considering the use of the brake is pretty high in our conditions. So I just change them every year just to avoid any last minute hiccups. And then definitely before going on track, I change it. And then after coming from track again I change it. If you see, it's not a very expensive proposition. It's just like $1,000 to get it changed and bleed the brake so that you have.
And that's
really
another
nice
task
brakes.
that can be done easily at home.
So
मेरी beer कहाँ गई?
ये तो मेरी है.
ये रही.
वरी. और ले लो, फ्रिज में पड़ी है, वहीं पड़ी हुई है सामने. वो बार के नीचे फ्रिज है, उसमें पड़े हैं कैन बड़े बड़े.
Fluids.
So fluids, yes. So the brake fluids I generally change as I told you before a major tour, or if I'm going on the racetrack, or if I think the brakes are not optimum, if I'm getting the wooden and spongy feel. Other thing what you can do is it really helped me. Some guys, some pros, they taught me this. So once you have that spongy feel on your brakes, like let's say you're riding in the mountains, you had excessive usage of the brake. So what you can do is just tie your brake lever to the full pressed position, put a rope or a clip around, keep it overnight. Morning, all the air system is gone.
Gone out of the system.
And
it makes a lot of sense.
You will get the better feel from the brakes. So clutch, hydraulic clutch, actually you can't do pretty much at home. You can just change the clutch oil and all. But if you have a wired clutch, it's just like, there is a bolt on top of the clutch lever. You can open that, remove the wire, remove the other end, pass it again. End of job.
I know a lot of Royal Enfield,
Royal Enfield,
they always carry a clutch wire.
With them. I still have some of my old classic clutch wires and accelerator cables. It's just a very easy job. It's just once you do it, once you start opening it, there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube.
I think that's the trick. I think you have to do it once.
You have to do it once. Don't be scared. What is the worst thing it is going to happen? You're going to break it.
You take it to the service center, get it fixed and try it again.
Once you break it, you will never break it after that. But if you do it peacefully, like watch it, then do it.
Take time. Take your time.
And even if you refer the owner's manual, some of them they actually give like how the wire is routed. They will give you the troubleshooting for various errors and what error means what. So refer to that last page of the owner's manual, which can give you, and keep it when you are on the tours, which can give you the idea that I have this warning light, what does it mean? So like once I had a engine warning light lighting up on this, and it was because of low level of coolant. So my coolant hose, I don't know if it is this side or the other side. So my coolant hose got leaked. It was a minor leak from the coupling side. It's on the other side. So and just because I had the soft copy of the manual, I could refer, okay, there's something wrong with my coolant. I bought a coolant. You can get the coolant anywhere. Just for that tour,
Right.
I put the
coolant. And coolants are different specifications, so it's good to know which coolant is
you will have the idea.
Which oil, viscosity
and
works for your bike.
Most of these coolants, they are available off the shelf. The trucks, cars, everybody they use it. So I completed the tour nicely. I came back, changed the hose, which is like again 2 Jubilee clips, remove one from here, one from here. So some of these bikes are designed, to do these jobs at home. They expect You know, people who are like in the foreign countries, some of them, they do their jobs on their own.
A lot of them do it. I mean, that's sort
even
of
the
they
servicing
take pride
and
in that.
everything.
You know, it's,
Like the winter, they take it as a winter
yeah,
project. Okay,
yeah.
every winter I'll service my bike, keep it ready for the summer. You know.
Exactly.
So similar thing I am also keeping. You know.
So another top tip, keep your service manual a soft copy on your phone when you go for rides.
Keep it handy.
Yeah.
Keep it handy.
So
one actually topic we don't talk about here in India is long-term storage of bikes.
Right. Yeah.
We don't really actually.
We don't have a winter.
If we keep long-term storage, the people who are keeping, they sell it after that.
Yeah, because we don't have a winter. That's the thing
winter.
about our
But if you
climate.
think about it, how many months you ride in a peak summer?
That's a great point. We sort of talked about this point on one of our other podcasts. In India, these bikes were designed for European conditions, and mostly people store it over winter time, especially people who live in the sort of colder climates. They store it away. They do all kinds of things just to make sure that the fuel doesn't deteriorate, the oils don't go bad. So there is a way to store it. In India, the problem is different. We have the warmer climate. So how do you prepare a bike? For to sort of, let's say you don't want to ride during the summer months. Yeah. So especially in North India.
Yeah, summer and the monsoon. Till
how would you store a bike? For summer.
So the biggest problem in storing the bike is batteries. Yeah. They drain it out. They drain out actually. Yeah. Then the tires, they get hard.
And if you leave them sitting for a long time, they might get
for
a
a
flat
long
spot.
time. Yeah. So what I do is generally my bikes are stored for 4 to 6 months because of my job. So what I use is these battery tenders.
Right.
Just leave it connected like your phone charger. So I think on the other side I have a battery tender cable. Yeah. Somewhere. I don't know. Here. Yeah. So it's just like a phone charger. I connect this to the bike, switch it on, keep it on.
It trickle charges the battery, yeah.
So that will maintain your battery. Right. Then other thing I do is, if you can see, I keep it on this trolley. So this is a rubber padding. Right. So you have the bike is not like kind of earthed, and it is not in contact with the concrete ground. And I put it on the paddock stand. So
and one of the things that we should do, we sometimes tend to store our bikes on the side stand. Yeah. It's better to store it either if you have a center stand, keep it on the center stand.
Coaster.
Yeah, or that, or put it on a paddock stand. So keep it on
a piece of wood.
On a sort of horizontal, because otherwise the oil, if you keep it.
That is mainly the problem with these boxers. Yes. Because we don't want to keep them for a long time. Generally, I mean, I had kept them for a few months, but then I learned and I decided keep it on a paddock and it will be better. So store it. Keep the tires, put it on a paddock, keep it above the ground, put the tender. Even if you're keeping on the side stand, put a wood under it.
Yeah, how about fuel? I mean, I know there's some Western countries,
so fuel,
they put
if you can see behind, I put some stabilizers. But that I used to use only for those, like metal tanks, so that the fuel doesn't emulsify and damage the tank or choke my fuel system. And then after storing for a long time, when I come back, I just change the fuel. I don't run the stagnant fuel in the bike for a long time. And generally I use a fuel filter in the bikes, pre-filter, You already have a fuel filter inside the tank, but pre-filter to have to leave the impurities,
make sure
keep the impurities out of the tank,
You filling dodgy places.
So that's how you store and you upkeep them. Right. So that's a whole idea. That's a whole overview of do-it-yourself, thing.
Yes, thank you so much, Anshul. It was a great great pieces of information to sort of maintain your bike, fix your bike if you can, and how to store your bike. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Yes. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Stay safe, ride safe, and don't drink and drive.
Drink and maintain.
Yeah, drink and maintain. Okay, thank you. चलो हो गया
हो गया
काम खत्म करो
Don't even see him move. Ride with